My parents spoiled my adopted sister, and in turn neglected me my whole childhood, and now I'm having to kick her out of my wedding because she thought the world revolved around her and she didn't have to follow my color scheme. When I, 25F, was 9, my parents adopted my sister Jen, who was 7 at the time. Jen was thin and fearful due to being neglected. We did everything to make her feel loved. We bought her lots of toys. Everything Jen wanted, she got. When my parents asked me to move to the smaller bedroom so Jen could have my room, I was happy to. When they asked if I would let Jen pick the decorations and cake for my upcoming birthday, I agreed. I was so happy to have a sister, and I understood why my parents gave her special treatment. Only the treatment didn't stop. For years, every trip we went on, we had to do what Jen wanted to do. We had to eat where she wanted to eat. And she got to plan all my birthday parties. If she didn't get what she wanted, she threw a tantrum. I still felt loved and cared for by my parents. They drove me to practices, bought me things, cooked meals for me, spent quality time and gave me advice, but I was always second to Jen. As I got older, I did anything I could to leave the house. I got my first job when I was 12. I vacationed with friends instead of family. I played 3 different sports and did band. I took my driver's test the day I turned 16 and bought a car the day after. I went to college on the other side of the country. Now that I make good money, I do things I missed as a child. I take fancy vacations and throw elaborate parties as I please. My wedding was no exception. My fiancé Kip and I wanted everything to be perfect. We thought it would be fun to have a color scheme. My favorite color is yellow, and his is blue, so my guests would wear yellow, his would wear blue, and mutual friends would wear green. I picked out a dress with green embroidered details, and he picked a boutonniere with green flowers. When Jen found out about this, she was mad. I didn't know this, but she hates yellow and it washes her out. She told me under no circumstances would she wear yellow. I shrugged and said that was fine, I would just kick her out if she did not wear yellow. There was no further discussion, but on my wedding day Jen came in a purple dress. I told her to leave immediately. The color scheme was perfect and she ruined it. Jen refused to leave until I threatened to call security. The rest of the wedding went smoothly, but afterwards my parents were furious with me for kicking Jen out. I told them that I warned her she would be kicked out if she didn't follow the color scheme, but they said they all thought it was a joke. They said it was cruel of me to kick my sister out over something so trivial. I told them this was my wedding that I threw without their support, so I can kick out whoever I want to. Kip came rushing to defend me and even told my parents they should be ashamed of how they treated me, but over the past few days, a lot of people I've talked to, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, have been mixed. Some say they wouldn't have even invited Jen if they were me, while others think I should have let it slide. Update. First, thanks for all of your comments. I felt so guilty the past few days and was worried it would carry into my honeymoon, but you have helped me realize that I am not the bad guy and it is okay that I responded the way I did. Last night my parents reached out to me and asked if all the things Kip said about how they should be ashamed were true. At that point I told them how my upbringing had impacted me, and how my wedding was supposed to make up for the parties I never had as a kid, the decisions I never got to make. For the first time, I was able to call all of the shots and make everything exactly the way I wanted it to be. I even showed them this post and how most of you responded to help reinforce what I said. My parents said they had absolutely no idea how deeply their treatment had affected me. This is somewhat fair because I never really talked to them about it, but at the same time, I feel like they should have wondered why I left home as soon as I could, never came back, and hardly ever texted/called them. They said they feel so sorry about it, and are now planning a vacation with them, myself, and Kip for next summer to make up for it. I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but at least now it looks like they're making an effort. As for Jen, according to my parents, she really struggled to make friends in middle school and high school. I didn't know this because I practically lived with my high school boyfriend my sophomore/junior year of high school and then graduated early, and Jen repeated a year in elementary school due to trauma, so we were 5 grades apart despite only being 2.5 years apart. My parents tried putting her in therapy, but she wouldn't cooperate. College was a slap in the face for her when she realized the world didn't revolve around her. She had to live in the same 7x9 room with plaster walls and linoleum floors as everyone else. She dropped out after a year and tried getting a job, but got fired after a few months. At that point my parents realized they really messed up. They told Jen she had to either go to intensive therapy or they would kick her out. According to my parents, she's now taking classes at a community college and hoping to transfer to a 4-year institution. She's doing better for the most part, though she occasionally lashes out. I'm glad Jen is getting the help she needs and working towards a career, and excited about potentially going on a trip with my parents and husband, while also knowing they might bail. I'm open to having more of a relationship with them, but I don't think we'll ever be a super tight-knit family. Some wounds are too deep. But instead of dwelling on the past, I'm looking towards my future, starting a family with Kip, and making sure I don't make the same mistakes my parents did.